in the studio. I'm your host, Mark Tatro. Hello everyone and welcome to In Studio. I'm your host Mark Tatro, and joining me this evening is an incredibly talented musician, known locally as one of the nicest guys in music, and it is a true honor to have him on my show. Please welcome Rodney James Medwid. Rodney, how are you today?
Thanks you for having me, honestly.
That was a big, I went big with the intro.
That was very kind of you.
I know, and I mean it. I've so much to talk about tonight. I'm such a fan of yours, and I mostly only know you from seeing your work, which is great. We finally have a chance to chat. Why not have 3 intimidating cameras and just make this happen?
I love it. I live for that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
So we have to get into, I need to know what your influences are and how you got into music, because you've done so many different genres throughout your sort of music career. I want to know what got you, like how did you get the bug, and how did you get into kind of writing and making music?
Honestly, the way it all kind of stepped into place was I was skateboarding back when I was in grade 7 with a gentleman, Trevor Mark, and had finished skateboarding one day, and we went back to his house, and we got into his bedroom, and he pulled out a Stratocaster, and he started playing little Smashing Pumpkins, little Soundgarden.
So 95, 94, you're how old?
Geez, this would have been 98.
Okay.
So 16 years old, started.
Okay.
And he played a few songs for me, and my first thought was, okay, I need to learn these songs.
Yep.
So, I convinced my dad to get me a $50 guitar over at Cash Converters for my birthday. Trevor said that the songs were a little bit too far advanced for me, so I did the creepiest thing I could do, and I had a video camera behind me. He had no idea, but I recorded him playing all 3 songs, and then the next day he came back and I played them for him.
So you watched the chords.
Yeah.
I have a very similar story. I sort of got into guitar, and I remember going to Pickers Alley in town in Sarnia. They won't want to hear this story, but there was a Green Day guitar tab book, and I took a notepad and I was writing down the chords. And it's funny because they're like 3-chord, whatever, nothing, pop rock. But that's how I learned how to do a power chord. I had written it down. The owner of the store, which sorry, Mark, did say like, hey, you can't be doing that. But I just learned, you're just so desperate to learn.
But what a magical desperation that is. Hey?
Yes, it is. Did you have musical support in your upbringing, like music around the house? Was there gear lying around? Your dad a jammer? Is that a thing?
Honestly, I talked to my wife about that, and I was just kind of looking back on the things, and not a musical family whatsoever.
They listen to music though? It's on in the house? Yeah,
absolutely. But just when it came to instruments and stuff like that, I was really the first one to dive into that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was always kind of a black sheep. I was always the one skateboarding or diving into music and doing stuff like that. And back in like 98, in the roughest part of Calgary, being a skateboarder and a rocker wasn't really the safest thing I can do.
Yeah, a bit of countercultural. It was a small town-ish kind of thing, like.
Well, I mean, with Calgary in the northeast side, it was just a rougher area, so it was just
Yeah, I grew up a block from the skate park in town here, and it was it was a rough place. So I definitely dove into music as it just felt like a new thing. Probably like skateboarding in that, like, it just wasn't something everybody was doing, and I liked that idea of that.
Right.
So that's amazing. So, I mean, I just want to fast forward to how I know you. So, I was supposed to meet a buddy at a pub about 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't even remember if he showed up, if we hung out, because all I remember is just watching your set. I walked in, and you're playing, I think it's funny, there's people, they refer to them as your suitcase years, because you were using a kick drum, a suitcase as a kick drum, and you were just going ham, and you were very animated, but your songs are really good. So I just sat there at the pub just watching your set, and I remember thinking like, this is like a $12, $15 ticket, like it was a free show. And I gave you the kind of head nod, and it's funny when you see a musician, because it felt like you could tell I was a jammer, because you kind of had that smile, I screwed up a couple things.
You could always smell it.
Yeah, and so that's how I got to know you. And then I saw a video that Troy Shantz did. He's a local, kind of an acquaintance of ours that we share.
Thanks, Troy.
Hey, Trum, there you go. I called him in advance and told him I'd be plugging him, and he is paying me for that. So sorry, your TV. But no, he's super talented, and he did a video of you guys that I think it was like where the Trinity Lounge used to be, and I can't remember what it was called at the time. But it was a cool video with the Ainsworth brothers. I thought that was a very good fit for you because Dan Ainsworth, shout out to Dan.
I was just
Can't
super
play bass
happy
badly.
to
He's such a
reunite
talented
with
guy.
those boys.
And you're playing with him now.
Yeah, we're back together, and it's just such an amazing feeling. These are people that have just been my most natural musicians to play with, and I'm really excited.
That's Ben Ainsworth and Dan Ainsworth. Yeah, Ben's got an incredible talent on guitar and mandolin, and certainly he's a guest on our show, so we'll have to tune into that episode. But that's cool. And then you started experimenting with like a pretty heavy rock band, and I was a big fan of that band and Tyler and all those guys. And then I checked out Facebook not long ago, and you have like a synth, kind of a chill King Bricks, your act. Can you tell us about that project? Because you've hopped genres like crazy.
For me, that project was just a way for me to make sense of a lot of stuff that is going on in my life emotionally and all the rest, and just trying to gather things because, everyone's lived crazy lives, but for me, therapeutic-wise, that project has really let me release a lot of emotion. So I used that to dial it in, and I thought the best way that I can have a project like that that's so close to the heart, to name it properly, the only thing that I can do that I wouldn't get sick of is my two sons' names. So King is for Kingsley and Bricks is for Brixton. So that's how I came up with the name. So it's just a full emotional pocket.
You're in you're wearing it on your sleeve. That's amazing. So that's all solo, that's you alone.
Exactly.
So one of the things I'm such a fan of, so I've been playing with the same guys, my band, the Action Figures. We've been playing for like 22 years, and Neil Evans and Scott Stevenson, and we're a garage rock band. It's what we know, it's what we live in. That's our heart on our sleeve
and I love
vehicle.
That you guys have been playing for so long together too. It's huge.
I love the guys, and they're also going to be guests, and I'm sure they're going to make fun of me for some of the stuff. But what I do find is that is our home, that's our safe spot, and you just take risks with your art. You're like a kid who's been given a stack of coloring sheets, and you're like, yeah, I do it. Done. And I love that. I love that you're not scared. Like, what genre do you prefer? Or do you just I just like trying on different hats, like it's all pizza?
Yeah, for me, it literally is just trying to keep myself excited with music. And, especially with now, banjo, I try to play as much banjo as I can.
I saw a couple of Facebook videos of you playing banjo, and you're very talented.
I appreciate it. Yeah. For me, it's just like every genre has these little parts that make me really excited. For King Bricks, it's the keys. Those write songs on their own. Sure. And then for folk music, when it comes to getting that banjo in my hands, it really, really gets me excited.
King Bricks, I think the studio is also an instrument you play well in that there's a lot of layers of synth and keys going on. That's really cool. I always feel that in our music, at least in the late 90s when we were out there playing and touring around and, goofing around with playing, we were playing stupidly everywhere we could.
Tons, right?
From small restaurants to clubs in Toronto, we'd hit the road. And, there was a competitiveness at the time of, oh, that song's so easy, oh, that song's so hard. And what I like about when I see you making music is you did an amazing cover of The Streets of Philadelphia by Springsteen, and you're like, it's 3 chords, but this song is everything I'm about when I write and make music.
Correct.
And that song specifically just grabs you. I did tear up when I heard you play that. It was a beautiful cover.
You're a beauty.
And you made it your own, and I mean that genuinely. But I also love that you can just play a couple chords and make someone feel, you can make someone think about life and all that stuff. So I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that, the power of whether it's complex or shredding metal heavy, is it all just, they're all just different colors on the palette.
It's so neat that you said colors, because for me, musically, that's what I do. I visualize colors. When I'm writing anything, I'm just seeing colors, and I just got to a point where I'm just really thankful, with anything that I do as a person, I'm just not so concerned about what anyone else thinks
Yeah.
art-wise compared to how I feel. This is for me selfishly.
Yeah.
Right. So I do everything, whether it's complex or whether it's simple. I do it for my own well-being of loving that song, right? Because the only feelings I can feel are mine. So I just kind of go with whatever works, and I really love simple songs.
Yeah, but people really respond to a lot of what you do, and I love following you on Facebook and seeing, you'll do like I'm gonna try a YouTube cover. Yeah, here's some Coldplay.
Yeah.
And or like here is like a professionally shot, studio song, and I really like that about you, and I'm glad we kind of got to talk about that. So in terms of any career highlights, like for some viewers at home who have not followed you, what's some cool stuff you've done in your years playing music?
You know what? Some of the crazy bands that I opened up with, like Twisted Sister, Rats.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Nashville. I can't say the last part of their band name. It's really
Okay. It's a family show, so
It's a
thank you.
family
Yeah, I
show.
appreciate that.
A real big highlight for me was when Live Nation contacted my old band Pure City, which was kind of like a Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Tool combination altogether.
Okay, like a proggy, grungy kind of heavy.
Right,
Yeah.
And so we had Live Nation contact us, and then Ashes Divide, we were to open up for them. And that's Billy Howardale from Perfect Circle.
Okay.
So for me, just because I really loved that, I still love
It's
that
got jammed
Tool
with Maynard
scene.
and Tool. Yeah.
So for me, that was really cool. And then to play the show and see all of their road gear, and it all said Tool because they were using all of Tool's gear.
Yes.
I mean, that stuff is pretty neat.
It is. I'll piggyback on that. We opened for Sloan, my favorite band of all time.
Sloan's great.
And I begged their guys to let me load in their gear, and I was like, "This is Patrick's pedal board," and I
Well,
love all that
speaking of
stuff.
Sloan and speaking of you guys as a band, I love your guys' harmonies.
Yeah, thank you. I mean,
love it.
I would say that's definitely Neil Evans. I've been playing and singing with him for years. He makes me sound really good. He's just it's a knack he has. So thank you for a shout out. Shout out to Neil, everybody.
I wanted to say that.
Cool, yeah, and harmonies are a big part of what we do, and thank you. So, but it ain't about me, Rodney. I appreciate it. I got to do my job and talk about your harmonies, because when you do your solo stuff, you layer your vocals considerably. So how does that work?
You know what? It's so fun to be able to, layer everything and then find out where things go. Sometimes it's not easy. You know how it is with harmonies and stuff like that. But it's really nice to be able to figure out what you can do. I mean, my range isn't the way it used to be when I was younger, but it's just really neat to, do harmonies that are gliding with your vocals the way it is, or sometimes just doing something in the background that is completely a different story, melody-wise.
And how do you mix that in and stuff like that? Well, I
Right.
see a lot of you do take a lot of those risks in the music you make, and we are wrapping up at a time because we want to get to you playing some songs for us. So just want to thank you for being a guest. This is a true pleasure. And Rodney James Medwid, if you haven't checked out his music, maybe tell the folks where they can catch you and buy your stuff and support you, sir.
You can catch me on Spotify or any of the major platforms like Apple Music and all the rest with King Bricks. And, I'm also doing, I'll keep this quick here, but I'm also writing songs for TV and cinema for an agency in Toronto. So I can't sell that stuff and put it on Spotify, but they are letting me put it on vinyl. So
You're putting out a record.
yeah, so I am doing
Congrats.
vinyl with the songs that they have purchased off me. I'm allowed to release it vinyl-wise. So some cool folk stuff on vinyl.
Amazing,
That's
amazing. Well, I'm such a fan, and I can't wait for you all to hear Rodney. So we're going to take a quick break, and we come back, Rodney's going to play some songs. Thank you so much, Rodney.
All right, I'm gonna count you down from 5, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, this is Rodney James Medwid, and I'm going to play 3 songs for you guys. The first one is The World Is Not So Far.
time to leave it last time now, but you wouldn't even call. Would you see me pretty darling, baby? Won't you see a lot of every day? Well, you know that it's the big one, darling, it's the big one of them all. Could it be the first time to leave it the last time down, but you wouldn't even call. Would you see me pretty darling, baby? Won't you see a lot of every day? Well, the lights are clear, but you listen now, my dear. I know it's hard to change, but the world is not so far away from. So far away from it, yeah. Oh no, 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 yeah. Woo. Well, you see me pretty darling, baby, won't you see the light of every day? So that was the first one. So, back to what you were saying there, Mark. This is a song that I just wrote a couple days ago, and I'm just going to do the organic thing and just do this. Sing, sing a song you're singing, sing too long and it's gone. Sing, sing a song, now it's too long, it's gone, gone. When your lives are full of cars and steam, and life is so much bigger than it seems. But your life is full of money and greed, and the stars are so much brighter than they need to be. Sing, sing a song you sing, you'll sing too long and we're gone. Sing, sing a song and it's too long and they're gone. When the lights are full of cars and steam, and stars are so much brighter than they need. When your life are full of money and greed, and stars are so much bigger than they need to be. Sing, sing a song you're singing too long and they're gone. Sing, sing a song and then it's too long and they're gone. Thought I'd do a slower one there.
That was awesome, Rodney.
Thank you so much. Then the next one I'm going to play a song called When the Sun Goes Down. I really love this song because this song here reminds me of my Alberta days, and it reminds me of fly fishing in the Kananaskas and telling my sweetheart that I loved her for the first time, and campfires and all the rest of that stuff, and trains down by the river. Here we go. Oh, and I am train, and you are the tracks. I take a push at you to wreck me, babe. And I ain't being an honest man. So we cruise through the mountains with no direction, and see the train's reflection in our water. And I river Medwid sits beside the train and the tracks, 'cause if you see what I see, baby, that's good to me. Then I'll forgive you, give my heart, chill you with me, and as the sun goes down, we'll ride free. And as the sun goes down, we'll ride, yeah. I said hello to the crow's nest, to how it's been kind. You're like a tension release to the mind, and I ain't been an honest man. So we cruise through the mountains with no reception, and you see the train's reflection in a wild and I river Medwid sits beside the train and the tracks, 'cause if you see what I see, well, baby, that's good to me. Hey! Then I'll forgive you, give my heart, chill you to me, and as the sun goes down, we'll ride free. And as the sun goes down, we'll ride, yeah. And as the sun goes down, we'll ride free. And as the sun goes down, we'll ride free. Cheers. Thanks, guys.